Hi everybody, it's week 2 of our Beat the Champ road trip to Rochester, New York, and here's our lineup for today. 3 bowlers are going to try to knock off the red-hot Derrick Greene, Bill Swiat, Bob Day, and Nathan Pinney. Well, welcome to Beat the Champ, presented by Storm. I'm Paul Peck with Hall of Fame bowler Sue Nawojski. First match is a Rochester guy and a Buffalo guy. We're kind of wondering about the rivalry between these two great bowling cities.
Well, if there was really truly a rivalry, you might as well take on our reigning 23-24 bowler of the year, Bill Swiat.
Yeah, so Bill Swiat and Bob Day, Buffalo versus Rochester, and everybody is trying to knock off our returning champion. 3 weeks in a row, you are the top of the heap here, Derrick Greene. What do you got to do to keep it going?
Just stay with the momentum, watch my transition, and then make the right ball moves, and then I'll be still champion at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, he has made all the right moves up to this point to remain our champion. Will that be the case? I don't know. We'll find out about an hour from now. We are ready to go. Swiat and Day, first match. Let's get rolling. Beat the Champ is sponsored by Storm, the Bowlers Company, and by Latina Boulevard Foods, your favorite family in food distribution. And that's the Rochester guy, Bob Day, on the left. Bill Swiat, the Buffalo guy, on the right. Bob Day knows this place pretty well. He bowls here at the ABC Gates Bowl regularly, so we'll see if that's an advantage for him. We talked to Bob a little bit about that. He had some thoughts on that, too. But, as you mentioned, this is your reigning Buffalo Bowler of the Year, so whether you know the house or not might not matter.
Yep, he's kind of at the height of his game right now, and made a change in his game, which I'd like to talk about a little bit. Not the way he wanted to start.
Whatever he changed, he might want to go back.
Well, yeah, so in qualifying, he has actually gone to a no-thumb approach, similar like Derrick Greene does. Doesn't put his thumb in the ball. And but he can go back and forth, and he chose to start this match with his thumb in the ball, even though he did bowl well in qualifying without it. And he said because of the lane condition that he chose to put his thumb in the ball.
All right, so take me to the high end of what you just said, which is why and what will that do for him, or what did not having the thumb in hurt him going into this?
It comes down to the magic words these days in bowling, and that's a rev rate. Without your thumb in the ball, you don't have to worry about clearing that thumb, and you do develop a higher rev rate, which means, covering more boards on the lane, which is not what he wanted to do in this case.
And there's a first frame strike for 66-year-old Bob Day from right here in Rochester. We love those guys that are retired. They have more time to bowl, don't they? And we get a few of those guys all the time on the show, and it's fun to see the guys that have a little more time to spend on the nuances of learning. You know, they're usually older. They've been bowling for 30, 40 years, but when you have more time, you kind of learn some of the nuances a little bit.
Right, and you also get the contrast in styles. I mean, as a older player, and he's developed a style that's more down and in, kind of like your old traditional days, not about rev rate and about covering boards, and shows you that accuracy and knowing your game is also still successful. Down the boards.
Right in the pocket.
Right in the pocket.
Yep. Bill Swiat is 39 years old from Cheektowaga, New York. 240 average right now. That's how you get to be the Greater Buffalo USBC Bowler of the Year. Couple of leagues every week for Bill. 31 career 300 games for Bill Swiat. And that's what we expected to see after the open in the first.
Yeah, so back to the thing about putting your thumb in the ball. If we'll watch this, he can play more down and in. See how his approach is not covering a whole lot of boards going left to right. He's just going up the boards, and having your thumb in the ball gives you a little bit more control that way. Look at that perfect backswing,
that is some
shoulder
form,
height.
isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. So as far as the rules go, as long as you can have as many holes in the ball as you want, but you have to use them all. So he has to have different balls drilled for his thumb hole for his thumb to use his thumb.
I just learned something that I would have never thought about.
Well,
so when he wants to go, if he wants to go back to not putting the thumb in, he's got to change to a ball that only has 2 holes in it. He's got to change to a ball that
only has 2 holes in it, right? Because there used to be a time they used to have side holes in the ball, gave them side rotation, changed the weighting of the ball. They took that away. So now the rule is you can have the hole, but you got to use it.
Interesting. So to follow up on our point, I asked Bob Day about, we're having fun here being in Rochester. We know this is a great bowling community. I said, is there a little rivalry between the Rochester bowlers and the Buffalo bowlers? And he's like, absolutely there is, right? We're all in this together, and we understand that the bowlers in both cities are really good and really high end. But, yeah, we want to beat those guys.
Yeah, he looked like he was stuck a little bit on that one. He looked down.
Yeah,
he looked down at his feet, stopped a little short, looked down to see what he stuck on.
And that's a little bit of the overriding theme that you and I have thought about as we come here to Rochester for the first time with our show at this outstanding bowling center, the ABC Gates Bowl. But it's about a 50-50 mix of bowlers that qualified for the show, being Rochester guys versus Buffalo guys, and it's kind of fun to dip your toes into a different bowling world, even though it's only 45 minutes down the road.
Yeah, and something to be said for Beat the Champ that these bowlers did travel from Buffalo to try to be a part of the show, and was definitely not put off by the 45-minute to an hour drive.
Well, thankfully that 7-pin fell late, or Bob Day would have been not very happy. So he's got a makeable spare opportunity here in the 4th frame.
Yep, that snapped up. Definitely a little high on him. We'll have to watch that going forward. The rumor is, not that I've thrown a ball in the lane, that they're a little wet dry, which is what the reasoning for Bill to go to the thumb hole.
You crazy pins.
Excellent spare conversion there.
It was a good spare conversion. So there's an interesting little story that I want you to tell everybody, because when the guys fill out their bio sheets for us, they usually will always say what their high career series are, and Bill's is an 890, but there's a story behind that, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. So that would have been the high series in Buffalo at now this point.
Of all time.
Of all time. Of all time. Right, not for the year, of all time. It was, it was and still is 888, shot by Bob Rudnick. And right after COVID, the league that Bill bowls in was always sanctioned, and they decided that to get people back into bowling, they didn't want to hit them with that extra fee, so they decided to go 1 year without sanctioning. And sanctioning makes your scores not legal. So he goes ahead and shoots 890, and then realizes that it doesn't count towards any records because it is an unsanctioned league.
Ouch.
And the league went back to being sanctioned the following year and has been sanctioned ever since. So it was just the one season that he shot the 890 that it just so happened that the league wasn't sanctioned that year.
So Bill is not in the record books for that reason.
It's
but
just a story that we tell.
Still bowled an 890, right?
Did.
Not taking anything away from him there.
2-pin in the first frame spare and 35 strikes in a row.
That is incredible. And that gives you an idea of if Bill Swiat gets on a roll like that, that roll could last a long time.
That's right. And this is a 10-pin match. They're keeping it close. And with Swiat having a strike up, anything can happen to tighten up that match to an even match depending on what Bob does here.
Bob's high career series is 825. He's had about 70 career 300 games. Bowled in high school at Edison Tech.
Great shot.
And I love this. Bob says, one of his greatest bowling achievements, shooting a 300 the same day that his son did. On the same day. How about that?
That is pretty special.
Yeah. We're coming off, hopefully you joined us a week ago, and we had father versus son in our first show from here at ABC Gates Bowl, the Dingmans going at each other. So, again, just more of an example of what a great family sport this is. 6th frame for Bob Day, and after a couple of spares in 3 and 4, he is finding his groove. Opening match from here in Rochester. Beat the Champ, presented by Storm. More right after this.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach.
He does it! Come true!
Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
Hey, Paul, what are you doing?
Hey, Sue. Hey, didn't you hear? We're bowling on MSG. I've got to practice.
No, Paul, we're not bowling on MSG. We're hosting bowling on MSG.
Oh, thank goodness, because there is no way I was going to be ready. Beat the Champ here on MSG. Soon Nawojski and I will bring you all the action. We'll see you on the lanes.
Paul, were you going to bowl in a suit?
Good match to get us started here this week at the ABC Gates Bowl in Rochester. Flower City's Bob Day versus Buffalo Queen City's Bill Swiat, if I'm going to keep the theme going there, huh?
Yep.
Good match. We are about halfway through now as we await Bill Swiat's 6th frame.
So Bill is down 10 pins going into this, so a strike here is really critical since Bob has already posted a double, so he's already up that lead by another 10.
Boy, that looked perfect almost all the way down, and the 4-pin would not cooperate.
Now it came up just a hair high. You can trip those 4 pins on that shot, but not all the time. Little high in the head pin.
He wanted that a little more to the right, didn't
Correct. Yep.
he?
In this
Because that
case-
would have sent the pins moving in that direction
Yeah.
to take the 4 out.
In this case, the 4-9 was really in danger of being left, so this is at least a makeable spare.
Just a lonely 4-pin hanging out in there. Not anymore, it's not. All right, so Bill Swiat is keeping this one tight.
Yeah, again, you look back at that first frame, and that open really was costly.
You know, it's just because all of the bowlers that are on our show are such good high-level bowlers. The one open frame is like the blinking red mark that you're like, man, you got to come back from that.
Yeah, that means you're gonna have to string
Now,
some
doing it in the
strikes
first
together.
frame is the right time to do it.
It
isn't
is.
it?
It is. See, now in this case, he was high flush on that one too, and that one did trip out the 4, which is a nice hit if you can get it. So if you watch this ball, it's going to come up a little high in the head pin, but enough to trip out that 4.
Bob Day's got a good rooting, cheering section for him here, of course, being from Rochester, and see some of the fans behind him there. Hopefully they'll start making a little more noise and cheer him on.
Ooh, that one hit a little light. That one
Didn't have a lot of
no,
oomph
it
going
was
down
losing.
there, did
It was definitely losing steam. You're gonna, when you see the 5-pin and the 7-pin and the 10-pin still on the deck, you know that it's hit a little light. But enough
he
to
hit
carry.
it in the exact location that he needed to hit it. Let's see what he thought of it.
He'll take it.
I think he knew
He'll
that
take
that was a little lucky.
And that's for a double. That gives him a 30-pin lead.
And that one got way high, but
Well,
still got him when
you
he
said
wanted.
he didn't want to get into it, but that was a Brooklyn.
All right, well,
That's-
good. Yes, thank you.
Going away from the head pin. That is truly a lucky shot.
4 in a row for Bob Day, really putting the heat on our reigning Buffalo Bowler of the Year, Bill Swiat.
Yeah, when you're down 30, you definitely don't want to see your opponent do that.
And good pin movement gets Bill Swiat an 8th frame strike.
Yeah, he's working hard. He's working hard for these strikes. He's hitting the pocket, and you can tell by his reaction that, thank God, something finally went down. And that was a another light hit where you saw the 5 and the 7 go down late. Yep.
Our reaction shots are just the
shake there.
best. Our reaction shots, bringing those reaction shots to you are great because the bowlers will tell you exactly not only what they think but what happened based on their reaction
Big
shots.
shot here can cut the lead to 20.
Nice.
Oh, another trip 4. I guarantee you he's making adjustments. I guarantee you he's not looking to trip that 4-7 out every single shot. Exact same hit as the last time. It's where the ball picks it up just a little bit early, tripping out that 4-7. But
missed the pocket a little bit again there.
It does not want to continue to rely on that shot. And I guarantee you he moved.
All right, Bob Day working 4 in a row. Make
Great
it 5.
shot. Needed that to keep his 30-pin lead. He will just not go away.
Nope, that's it. Bill Swiat's putting the pressure on doing everything he needs to do, but it doesn't matter if the other guy keeps doing it too.
What a great shot. I'll tell you, these lanes are a little tricky too. I mean, just because it's a house shot doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be easy.
Yeah, and again, that's where you'd like to think Bob Day's advantage of bowling here a lot more than Bill might have come into play.
Yeah, a little bit of a comfort level here. He needs a mark to shut Bill out. Nothing more poetic than having to make a 10-pin to win a match.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? So get this 10-pin, get your spare, and then get a couple of pins down, and it will be Bob's day.
Very good.
All right, he just needs 2 pins, and it'll be a win. And then the Rochester guy will move on to take on a guy who's from Rochester but just moved from Buffalo's Southern Tier. So we have a guy who's living in both worlds, Nathan Pinney, as our next up for Bob Day if he gets these 2 pins. And then, of course, it's a true Buffalo guy that's awaiting all of them with our returning champion, Derrick Greene. And there's your 2 pins plus more. And for Bob Day, it's a 244 and a victory. Match number 2, Gates Bowl, ABC Gates Bowl in Rochester next. Bob Day advances on with a 244 to 215 win over Bill Swiat. He will take on Nathan Pinney. Match number 2 here at ABC Gates Bowl. Bringing you Beat the Champ, presented by Storm. Nathan is our quasi-Buffalo Rochester guy from Hinsdale, New York, Olean area. Just moved here to Victor within the last couple of months, he told me. So
yeah, that's right. He hasn't even had a chance to join a league yet, so he's had to go without bowling. And just came because he wanted to try out the show, but hasn't really had an opportunity to get any new equipment or, keep in practice by bowling leagues. So it tends to get back to it, but hasn't had time.
Jack Jurek took care of all of his equipment when he was in Buffalo. Just a quick shot down the 90 there to come back and have Jack set you up again.
Representing with his Global 900 shirt.
So it's a spare in the first frame for Nathan Pinney, 22 years old, now living in Victor, New York, against the 66-year-old Rochester native Bob Day. And Bob was very impressive in that first win over Bill Swiat. Again, just smooth, savvy, veteran, experienced in this house, understood what it wants to do to him and what he needs to do to the pins.
Yeah, well, when you know that a place breaks down to be a little wet dry, which means it's oily to the left and dry to the right, you want to get a smooth ball, and he's just riding that line, using as much roll as he can to not overreact in the dry or underreact in the wet, and he knows that, and he's keeping it simple and using that to his advantage.
Well, you get a good look at how big this place is. 48 lanes here at ABC Gates Bowl. It is the second largest independent bowling center in all of Western New York, Buffalo and Rochester, and Second only to the place where we were a month or so ago at transit lanes.
Yep, that's right. And since they've gone through the renovations, they're really only a 40-lane center now if you take out the boutique. So this could actually be the biggest. And, you know, keeping a place up like this isn't easy. This is a really great center. He keeps busy with tournaments and events all the time.
Oh, it just won't go down for Nathan. It's still bobbling back there for Nathan. Yeah, we had a nice chat with Kelvin Parker, one of the owners here at ABC Gates Bowl, and you know they have hosted just within the last year or so U.S. Women's Open. They're going to host the PWBA Tour Championship in August of 2025. They've had PWBA regional tournaments here. Like, this is a high-end house.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that their concept was to keep up the tradition of great bowling and professional bowling here in the Rochester area, because there was a place named Olympic Bowl where the PBA stopped at every single year that has since closed and been taken away. But they were bowlers here in this area and wanted to preserve that reputation they had, and is modeling that place in that way.
Yeah, Kelvin and his partner Russell Vallone Jr., the owners here at ABC Gates Bowl. So Pinney, you saw the open as he missed the spare in the second frame and is able to bounce back with a strike here in the third. And
yeah, we talk about those spares and lack of practice, and maybe that's where kind of him not bowling league and not being actively involved in bowling on a regular basis, kind of where you miss a little bit when you're used to making your spares and you're kind of off of that.
That kind of shows up a little bit on
a
single pin spare ball. Ring around the 10 for Bob Day.
He really wanted that too. That was going to really build him up an early lead, and he threw that great. That was really a great shot.
Couldn't ask for a better position and location.
That was a ring around the 10 for sure.
Yep, bad luck. Bob Day is a Hall of Fame bowler. One of his big tournament wins was in a 60 and older league, and then also has won some doubles tournaments with his son. So it's a cool part of the life of a guy like Bob Day, who's been bowling since he was 3 years old. That's 60 plus years of being involved in this sport.
There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in there.
Yes, there is. Fourth frame. Oh, look at that beautiful angle. Not such a beautiful result, though.
No, now that's your right through the head pin.
That's a
Come
6,
up a
7,
high.
10 split.
Second arrow hooked up way too early. Just started to read the lane earlier than he wanted to. This is where you start to have transition, where the lanes start to change on you, and you hope that you can pick it up before something tragic like this happens, but he'll be making a move on that lane.
All right, well, he gets the 2 pins, so that's an open in the fourth for Bob to match the open by Nathan in the second, so both guys are even on the open side.
Yeah, well, it's a double here. Puts Pinney right back in the lead again. Puts him 3 pins ahead if he can double on these 2 frames here.
There's the first one. Nathan Pinney is an architectural designer coming in, like as we said, because of the move, he hasn't really bowled regularly in the league, but he had a 210 average last year. 4 career 300s, a high 788 series, a member of the Hinsdale, New York high school bowling team where he grew up. He's bowled in the junior nationals before.
Yeah, he's gone to junior gold 3 years. That is the biggest junior tournament that is out there. The most competition. It's a national tournament where people come from everywhere. So he represented there 3 times.
And that is a double for Nathan Pinney. Actually, that's 3 in a row now, 3, 4, and 5, as he follows up his open with 3 consecutive strikes.
And he is now in control of this match.
Not how you start, it's how you finish.
That's right. That's why they say never give up, because you don't know what happens. One open in this game changes everything.
Yeah, a little satisfying clap of the hands for Nathan. And that time the 7-pin wobbles and bobbles and falls for Bob Day.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about angles to the pocket. The light hit does not carry as well as here. We were talking about how you wanted to hit high flush. This one was a little light. In this case, it did go over, but it put up a little bit of a fight.
So a chance at a double here for Bob to get himself right back in this one and send us down the backside of this match tight. And there it is. So 2 in a row for Bob Day, hanging in there and battling with Nathan Pinney. Come back to Rochester. More of Beat the Champ, presented by Storm, next.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
I'm Paul Peck.
And I'm Sue Nawojski. We want to see you out here bowling for the top spot on Beat the Champ.
So get to any of our great host centers and get the details on how you can be a part of the show and be our next winner.
And don't miss any of the action here on MSG every week.
Yeah, so check out the show next week or get out there and qualify and be our Beat the Champ winner.
Back on the 6th frame for Nathan Pinney. And that's the 7-pin that will not cooperate.
That was a very good shot. This spare is going to be really important.
It's our first lefty-righty match that we've had on the show, right?
I feel like our first one last week was lefty-righty. Josh and
yeah,
Derrick.
you are correct.
But in doing my interviews, I questioned people who had bowled here and league bowlers, and they're like, is this a lefty house, righty house? Does this place have a reputation? And they said it was
I feel
very
like that depends on who you ask.
overall, the word is it's very consistent on both sides.
Okay.
But that the house high score is a left-handed score. The left-hander did shoot it. But overall, the feeling is that it's consistent on both sides.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe that's what determines the answer to that question. Whoever's got the high house score gets to claim that this is a blank type of house.
Then it would be left-handed.
All right, what happened to Nathan here?
Little transition. One of the things that you have to watch out for, you get a little carry down, the ball goes a little longer for you, and this is what's happening right here. Oof.
And that's going to be an open in the 7th for Nathan.
Again, I think the lack of bowling league and the lack of practice is definitely making him a little rusty on his spares.
So can the veteran Bob Day take advantage of that door opener? Bob coming off the win in our first match against Bill Swiat. Winner of this match takes on our 3-time champion Derrick Greene. And that pin went flying and bouncing off of everything but the 10-pin.
Well, I notice that he's moved everything in a little bit. He's keeping everything very tight. You know, he's not going much to the right at all. And it worked for him on the left lane. This one just having a little trouble with that ring 10.
And a spare in the 7th for Bob Day.
Just another day.
Well done. I mean, again, Bob's a pro, so he either takes this match frame by frame or day by day.
We got to keep him on here so we can have the DJ references.
I got a million of them, or I'll find a million of them.
That's just it about being this deep. He's in quite a bit of the oil, so he's really moved himself out of trouble and into the oil. He's going to get to the pocket, but the carry will suffer when your ball's going through this much oil.
Yeah. So what is the oil doing to the ball there?
Keeps the ball from hooking.
Okay.
I mean, he's got to be there because the right of him is dry. So he's going to take his 10 pins and grind it out. And if you can ride it out and, win the match, that spot will break down for him. So you kind of just take your 10 pins and let the lane smooth out a little bit.
Here's Nathan Pinney's 8th frame.
I mean, we're still talking a close match here. We're talking about an 11-pin match. And now with Nathan having the strike up, he can cut that lead to 1 with a double. Because those strikes, you can parlay them into some, every extra 10 pins counts.
That was a perfect ball, perfect hit, right in the pocket.
Right where he needed it,
right where
when
he
he
wanted
needed it.
And that is 2 in a row for Nathan Pinney.
Keeping it interesting because we're getting this close to we're in the 9th frame, and I'm seeing another possibility of a tie. Get a little bit to go on it.
We did have a roll off 2 weeks ago.
If he gets 9 on this, it's going to get interesting.
So Bob Day with a chance to win this match right here. That's not going to do that.
It's very interesting. Not lack of hitting the pocket, though. I mean, he's getting in the pocket, but he's had to move into a spot where the ball's not driving as hard. So he's, taking his lumps here with the corner pins. No matter what happens here, Nathan's going to have a chance to get up and win this match.
All right, so Bob wants to finish as strong as he can here in the 10th frame.
Absolutely. He wants to make it as tough as possible. Since he's had to move a little deeper, you've seen him, he's had 3 9 counts in a row, and he may run out of time trying to wait for the lanes to come to him.
Yeah, so strikes in 5 and 6, but spares in 7, 8, and 9 to Sue's point.
Kept it in.
Never turned for him, did it?
No,
There's your point about the oil, right?
There's actually more in the oil than in his other shots. That one was really down the middle. If you look at it, that was really, really in the oil. So the ball never hit the 5-pin. So I guess my thought was that moving your feet a little deeper and your eyes a little right and trying to catch something to dry. But in this case, he chose the oil line.
5-7 split.
Oh.
Doesn't do it.
Well, that was a turn of events.
Yeah, sure was, huh?
Never missed the pocket. And
so all Nathan Pinney needs is a mark here in the 10th frame to win. And he will get the strike to make it happen. So that's a good come-from-behind victory for Nathan Pinney.
It sure is. We talk about the opens, and in this case, it's okay if your opponent matches your opens. In this case, they were both 2 opens.
I was going to say, we don't often have a winner with 2 open frames, but if the other guy has 2 open frames, it negates the negative there. So Nathan Pinney is going to win this match and move on to our final against Derrick Greene. We'll have that for you when we return on Beat the Champ. It is time for the championship match. Derrick Greene versus Nathan Pinney. Week number 2 here at the ABC Gates Bowl in Rochester. It's been a good start to this week, and Nathan Pinney with the 211-189 victory over Bob Day, advancing to the finals against a guy that we've already gotten to know pretty well and know how good he is in Derrick Greene. So we got a pair of lefties going at it here for our title match.
Ooh, a little love tap there.
Oh, yeah, a lot of love tap to the 7-pin for Nathan.
That's a great start since he just went late to finish the last match on that. He had to make a little bit of an adjustment, I'm sure.
Oh, that's the pin after it hit off the sidewall and knocked it down.
Yeah, that is a love tap.
So Derrick Greene is our 3-time champion here. 2 weeks at Manor Lanes, and then last week here at the ABC Gates Bowl. And he is undefeated. He's bowled 5 matches on the show here and won all 5 of them.
Yeah, you will see that, you know, it's been a while since he's bowled. I mean, this is a new week, and the people bowling on the lanes will change the lanes up differently. So it's up to him to figure out what's happening out there. And we are hearing a little bit about the wet dry, which will affect him too.
So it's a spare in the first frame for Derrick Greene, 34 years old, from Buffalo. 244 average right now in the 2 leagues that Derrick bowls in.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a chance to talk to him, and he really seems to love to work with the younger people. He feels like Ryan Simonelli really took him under his wing and really taught him how to bowl. That's who he emulates his game after, and saw him bowling and helped him out and guided him, and so did Parker Bone, he said. So he wants to pay it forward, and he likes to help the kids out, hoping to do for somebody else what was done for him.
That's a couple of pretty good mentors, isn't it?
It sure is.
Particularly Ryan, the Western New York Buffalo native, and those are some pretty good guys to tap into the knowledge. So for the second frame in a row, a little spare work on the left-hand side here for Derrick, and that one does not go the way he wanted it.
No, I saw that coming actually on the last shot he took on the last frame, shooting the same spare, and I was like, oh, that's cutting that really close to chopping it, and this time he cleanly took the 4 off the 7.
Close, but not close enough.
No, there's more distance.
Second frame for Nathan Pinney.
Oof.
And the 4-pin will not cooperate after the 7 got taken out.
Yeah, that ball speed seemed a little slow. That ball picked up. It felt, I don't know if it was actually a little slower or after you watch Derrick bowl. He has such ball speed that it almost looked a little bit slower.
Everything looks kind of slow after Derrick goes. So we want to thank our host center for Beat the Champ, presented by Storm. It is ABC Gates Bowl here in Rochester. You can find them online at abcgatesbowl.com. They are just one of our many great host centers. And if you want details on how to be a part of Beat the Champ, just stop in at any of our host centers and ask that fine person behind the counter, how can I be on the show? And if you get out there and you bowl well, then we could be seeing you here on the lanes. And interestingly enough, after leaving some 7 pins, he leaves a 10-pin here.
What's really interesting is that he's actually coming up just a hair light. If you look at this, his ball's hitting a little bit light. Again, I said the swisher hit wasn't the best way to strike in this place, and that ball's coming light. And you've got Derrick, also a left-hander, who's having a tough time keeping the ball on the left side of the head pin.
That does not count because it hit the gutter first and then bounced back and took out the 10-pin.
That is a giant break for Derrick, and that is the second 10-pin that Nathan has
That's right.
missed.
He missed one in the last match against Bob Day.
Those
it didn't hurt him.
Those are the cross alley ones that you really have to make because they're on your side. It's similar to a right-hander making a 7-pin. It's just an adjustment off your strike ball.
So both guys have an open, which means Derrick Greene's won't hurt him as much as it could have.
Right.
And then if Derrick has found his groove based on that strike in the third, there could be trouble here for Nathan Pinney.
So good adjustment for Derrick because he was having trouble keeping the ball in the pocket, and he took out a ball that gave him the angle that he needs.
So I mentioned that we've seen Derrick bowl 5 times on our show. In those 5 matches, he is averaging 228. That's a very solid average, and that includes kind of eking his way to a 213-145 championship win a week ago.
What a great adjustment he just made. And he mentioned in the interview a little bit about transition, and he has met transition here today, and he has adjusted to it because his first 2 shots were not even close. And now he's posted up a double to take the lead in this match.
So the pressure goes back on Nathan, and kind of missed the pocket there as well, and leaves the 3-pin.
Yeah, he's having a lot of trouble with that ball recovering and hitting the pocket with any power whatsoever.
So I guessed wrong the last time. Hopefully I guessed right this time. This is our first lefty-lefty match of our stop here at ABC Gates Bowl. So what does that do to the lanes now?
Well, they're on equal footing, right? You can't say one has an advantage over the other. They're playing the same side of the lane. So what's happening for one is happening for the other. The difference is in their rev rates, their execution, and their ball choices, and it's how they figure out what suits their game better. And in this case, again, I have to commend Derrick on making a really tremendous move to start hitting the pocket after he missed the pocket twice.
5th frame now for the 22-year-old from Victor, New York, Nathan Pinney. Seemed to take something off that, and hey, it worked.
He's kept it in the dry a little bit longer and still got that swisher hit. It still didn't hit, super powerful, but it did get that swisher hit that took the 10 out for him.
Think that was a calculated move by Nathan?
Well, it was the move he had to make because he had to find a way to get to the pocket. Hit the drive just a little too soon.
Leaves himself a picket fence with a 247 on the left side.
I mean, he makes it look kind of easy when he strikes, but the truth of the matter is, like, you see how he got it all the way to the gutter?
Yeah.
And it picked up too soon. He needed to get it to that spot further down the lane. He got there a little bit soon.
Yeah, so too far to the left means it didn't turn to the right when it needed to, and that's
well, those
why
where the dry boards are, so he's throwing it to the dry boards. He just got him there too soon.
But one thing we have seen from Derrick is even when he makes a mistake like that, he is very good at picking up the spares.
He is very good at his spares. I will give him that, too. And
we're getting used to that look from Derrick. That's the what do I need to do now look.
No, this means this is the I have to execute because, again, he's making it look a little easier than it is. I mean, he really does have to be very perfect.
21 career 300 games, a high 834 series for Derrick Greene. And that looks good. Strike in the 6th frame as Derrick Greene tries to get his 4th consecutive championship here on Beat the Champ.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach. Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
Hey, Paul, what are you doing?
Hey, Sue. Hey, didn't you hear? We're bowling on MSG. I've got to practice.
No, Paul, we're not bowling on MSG. We're hosting bowling on MSG.
Oh, thank goodness, because there is no way I was going to be ready. Beat the Champ here on MSG. Soon Nawojski and I will bring you all the action. We'll see you on the lanes.
Paul, were you going to bowl in a suit?
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach. Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
Big turnaround in this match while you were gone. Strikes in the 6th and 7th frame for Nathan, a spare in the 7th for Derrick Greene.
Yeah, Nathan threw 2 really great shots. Oh, there's a break.
Big one.
We're seeing a little intensity out of Derrick now. He knows how important it is.
He knows he needs it too.
Falling behind in this match.
So Nathan takes control and with those 2 strikes, but I can't wait to see this reaction.
Strike here.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh. Well, that's going to keep it close. Now we're going to be going back and forth with whoever can double.
And we have learned that when it stays close, Derrick Greene usually winds up figuring out a way to win it, including the roll-off a couple weeks ago. So Nathan's got to finish the spare here in the 8th frame, and he does.
You've got 2 very different bowlers, and as far as their experience goes, Derrick bowls tournaments, Derrick bowls league, Derrick bowls a lot of things. So you get to this point, he's more accustomed to raising his intensity level and focusing, where you've got someone who hasn't bowled league and has really been out of the game for a while, might be a little bit more nervous and tentative when it comes to this situation. So it'll be interesting how this plays out.
9th frame.
Another messenger. Beautiful
he's
shot.
had a couple of those, including one while we were gone, where the pin just went from one side to the other.
Exactly. Just going to pay attention to the fact that that strike made him unable to be shut out. So Derrick put him in a position to have to finish the match and put the pressure on Nathan, and we'll see how that works for him.
9th frame for Derrick Greene. Well, those pins went bouncing off the ceiling there, but it didn't take out the 7. Watch how high these pins go.
We're going to look at Derrick. He's keeping this in a little bit more. He's chosen to keep the ball into the oil a little bit. We talked a little bit about that in the last match. When you keep the ball in the oil, it doesn't hit as hard as when you use the dry boards to bring the ball in.
Spare pickup in the 9th for Derrick Greene.
This is a very interesting finish.
Coming right down to the end here at the ABC Gates Bowl. Beat the Champ, presented by Storm. This is why we love this sport. This is why we hope you love this show, because you got to stick right to the end to figure out who's going to make the moves and execute better to win.
Derrick's going to have to double here to force Nathan to mark.
And there's the first.
Yep, same hit with the messenger coming across to take out that 7.
All right, see, Derrick, as we've learned about Derrick, he usually will do what he needs to do to put himself in a position to win, and unfortunately for him, that's out of his control at the moment, but he's doing everything he can do in his control.
Well, his theory is never give up. You never know what's going to happen. I'm sure that's how he's approaching this.
Second ball of the 10th frame. Ugh, not what he wanted.
That he amped that up a little bit. Threw that really hard.
He's had a couple of unusual leaves.
Well, the lanes are tough. Wet dry can be tough. You need the wet. You need the wet to keep your ball from going left, but you need the dry for the hit. So you got to find a way to hit it in the exact right spot.
All right, so Derrick with the spare puts a 194 on the board. So here comes Nathan. All he needs is 9 pins. and he will end
Yeah.
the 3-week
And that would
run.
be in 2 shots.
Yep,
9
he
pins.
will end the 3-week run of Derrick Greene as our champion. 9 pins for the win.
This is
6 for the moment.
God. We're gonna take it right to the end. Yikes!
No relaxing here at the ABC Gates Bowl. All right, so he needs 3 to win. If he gets 2, he loses. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, my.
Oh my, that is not the ending we expected.
Derrick Greene has just won this match by 1 pin. And that look tells you how he's handling it. We'll try to figure out how to handle it, and we'll talk to an incredibly lucky Derrick Greene, who's now a 4-time champion. Stick around. We wrap it up right after this.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
Great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
I'm Paul Peck.
And I'm Sue Nawojski. We want to see you out here bowling for the top spot on Beat the Champ.
So get to any of our great host centers and get the details on how you can be a part of the show and be our next winner.
And don't miss any of the action here on MSG every week.
Yeah, so check out the show next week or get out there and qualify and be our Beat the Champ winner.
Beat the Champ is sponsored by Storm, the Bowlers Company, and by the Bowling Proprietors Association of Western New York. Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
What a finish to our championship match. Derrick Greene over Nathan Pinney, 194 to 193. Sometimes you got to be good, and you have been. Sometimes you got to be lucky.
Very lucky. I'm just thankful that I made the shots and made the right ball changes at the end, though. That's all that matters.
Sue?
Derrick, I spoke to you before we started 2 weeks ago, and I asked you what your advice was, and you told me never give up. You never know what's going to happen. Did that come true today or what?
Definitely. It definitely came. I'm proud of the fact that I never gave up on any of my shot making that I did today.
We get a chance to have seen your range of emotions in the span of 1 minute there. How do you handle the lows to the highs like that?
Just staying humble. And the fact that Nate did a very good job pushing me to my limits, and the lanes was definitely tame. I'm very proud of the fact that I overtamed it and came on top.
Right. Well, that's 4 in a row now for Derrick Greene, and he's going to have a chance to go for 5 in a row next week. Who knows what could happen? We have no idea. Hopefully you're there to watch us tell you what happens. It'll be next week on Beat the Champ, presented by Storm.